Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 2 Samuel, the 13th chapter. And as we left off in the 12th chapter, we saw that the Lord basically sending the prophet Nathan on to David to to speak to him concerning the matter and how it displeased the Lord and the punishment that would befall him for that. We later on see David, come to join the battle against the Ammonites, basically getting the triumph and the victory. This is 2 Samuel 13:1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her. Now remember, David had a lot of sons, right? A lot of children. And Absalom was of a different mother, right? Absalom and Tamar had a different mother than Amnon. I believe Amnon was the firstborn and Absalom being the thirdborn. So Amnon loved Absalom's sister. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar. So he was like, I guess the term would be lovesick. Like he just wanted her so bad. For she was a virgin. And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. Basically, he figured like he can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost impossible for him to basically be able to get his hands on her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very subtle man, meaning he was cunning. And he said unto him, Why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Why you look so depressed every day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Ammon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. And Jonadab said unto him, Listen, lay thee down on the bed, and make thyself sick, act like you sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come, and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I may see it and eat it at her hand. So basically, then you just tell him, look, I'm not feeling too well, but it'll make me feel better if you send my sister Tamar to come and make some food for me. So Amnon lay down and made himself sick. So he went along with the plan and acted like he was sick. And when the king was come to see him, right, to check up on him, Amnon said unto the king, I pray thee, let Tamar my sister come, and make a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat at her hand. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, Go now to thy brother Amnon's house, and dress him meat, so go make him some food. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was laid down. And she took flour, and kneaded it, and made cakes in his sight, and did bake the cakes. And she took a pan, and poured them out before him. So she basically served him. But he refused to eat. And Amnon said, Have out all men from me. So basically, leave us alone, dismiss everybody. And they went out every man from him. And Amnon said unto Tamar, Bring the meat into the chamber, that I may eat of thine hand. So bring it into my bedchambers, and then feed me there. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them into the chamber to Amnon, her brother. Now at this point, she's probably thinking in her head, like, okay, that's kind of weird, but, you in that position, right, you never want to think the worst, right? Like, what the hell is this guy planning? So in her mind, she's thinking, well, that's her brother. So anyway. And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her and said unto her, Come lie with me, my sister. So he basically grabbed her hand. He's like, look, just, you looking fine as shit. I've been wanting you for a minute. I want that booty. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Let go of me. Do not thou this folly. Right? So basically, she's trying to talk some sense into him, like, yo, like, this is not, don't do this. This is not going to end well. And whither shall I cause my shame to go? So if you do this, how that shame that'll come upon her for a situation like this, how will she ever live it down? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel. So you're going to be known as like, it's not going to end well for you. Now, therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. So at least just ask the king, and maybe, he'll allow you to marry me. And then, at the very least, it's not going to be this very messed up situation here. And I guess she was saying that to try and get away. Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her. So he took it by force. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, Arise, be gone. So basically, being filled with that lustful desire for her, he took her. But afterwards, that post-nut clarity hit, with more modern terms, and then he hated her because he came to his senses. But seeing her reminded him of what a crazy thing he had done, and made him feel even worse. And so he basically hated her, which really was like misdirecting the disdain that he really should have had for himself, but he put it upon her. And so he said, no, you got to go, get out of here. And she said unto him, there is no cause. This evil in sending me away is greater than the other that thou didst unto me. So by you, she's saying by you kicking her out after doing this and taking her virginity is far worse than, or it's worse than you taking her by force, given that she was his sister. But he would not hearken unto her. He was not trying to hear that. Then he called his servant that ministered unto him and said, Put now this woman out from me, and bolt the door after her. Meaning, basically kick her out and lock the door after. And she had a garment of diverse colors upon her, for with such robes were the king's daughters that were virgins apparelled. Then his servant brought her out and bolted the door after her. And Tamar put ashes upon her head, and rent her garment of diverse colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head, and went on crying. And Absalom, her brother, said unto her, basically like, what happened? And he suspected, because he knew she went to Amnon's crib, and she comes back crying with ashes on her head, or her clothes ripped. So he asked, Hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? So did he do something to you? Did he take you? But hold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. So he basically took her, calmed her down, told her, you know what, it's all right. You just forget about it for now. Because at the end of the day, he's your brother, right? If you make this public, it's going to be a very, it's not going to be good. So it's all right. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of these things, he was very wroth. So he was very angry. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon, because he had forced his sister Tamar. So he didn't he didn't say anything to him concerning the matter, neither good or bad. But within him he had a strong hatred for Amnon because of that. And it came to pass after 2 full years that Amnon had sheep shearers in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom, Salakia if I said Amnon, or if I mix it up, names sometimes, but hopefully I said Absalom had sheep shearers. And Absalom invited all the king's sons. Now, when it came time to shear the sheep, it was also sort of used as an occasion for like feasting and so on, kind of like how you have a harvest, because then they could like realize their gains, right? In shearing the sheep, that sheep's hair or wool was it was also very valuable. Okay, so they would definitely make a lot of gains. And so basically Absalom is like holding this event, and it says here, and he came to the king and said, Behold, now thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. So he's trying to invite his pops to come to like a banquet, you could say. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we be chargeable unto thee. So let's not all of us go unless it becomes too burdensome. And he pressed him, howbeit he would not go, but blessed him. So David refused to go, but gave him his blessing. Then said Absalom, If not, I pray thee, let my brother Amnon go with us. And the king said unto him, Why should he go with thee? So, I was a little suspicious, like, why Amnon? But Absalom pressed him that he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. So Absalom was just like, nah, he just kept on at it, kept on at it, kept on at it. If you're not going to go, at least let my brothers come. Like, come on, And eventually David was like, okay. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. So when you watch him, and when you see that he's like so drunk and he's feeling nice, and when when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? So I'm your master. I'm giving you this commandment. So you're doing it in my name. Just go and do it. Be courageous and be valiant. And the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. And all the king's sons arose, and every man gat him up upon his mule and fled. Hey, what the hell's going on? Oh shit, what? I'm out of here. And it came to pass, while they were in the way, that tidings came to David. So while they were fleeing, all of them, on their way out of there, news came to David, saying, Absalom hath slain all the king's sons, and there is not one of them left. Then the king arose. Now, obviously, this wasn't the case, but that was the news that came. Then the king arose and tare his garments, and lay on the earth, and all his servants stood by with their clothes rent. And Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother, answered and said, Let not my lord suppose that they have slain all the young men of the king's sons. For Amnon only is dead. For by the appointment of Absalom hath been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. So don't not all your sons are dead, only Amnon. Because this was definitely a plot by Absalom, because he was targeting Amnon for what he did to his sister. Now therefore let not my lord the king take the thing to his heart, to think that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon only is dead. But Absalom fled, and the young man that kept the watch lifted up his eyes and looked. So what's his name? Jonadab, I believe what's his name here. Where is it? Wow. Okay, there you go. Jonadab. Sheesh. Ends up, telling David, look, don't worry. There was a plot only against Amnon. And so now Absalom, he's fleeing because he's like, shit, they're going to come for me. And so the watcher, right, the watchman looks up, and as it says, and looked, and behold, there came much people by the way of the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said unto the king, Behold, the king's sons come, as thy servant said. So it is. So see, I told you that your sons were fine. So those that the watcher saw were the sons of David fleeing. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's sons came, and lifted up their voice and wept. And the king also and all his servants wept very sore. But Absalom fled, and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. Now that was his grandfather. Remember, his mother was the let me actually go back to that. Was that 1 Samuel? But yeah, anyway, his mother was the one that David had married. It was from that line. So let's look up Geshur. Here it is, 2 Samuel 3:3, and his second, Chileab, of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite, and the third, Absalom, the son of Maacah. There we go, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. So this was Absalom's grandfather on his mother's side that he fled to. And David mourned for his son every day, being Amnon. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon. So after mourning for Amnon, and eventually getting over it, now he wanted to see Absalom. He missed Absalom, seeing he was dead, being Amnon. So after Amnon was dead, and David eventually mourned, and he was okay. Now he wanted to see his son Absalom, but he couldn't, or he didn't, because being the king and being the position he was in, it was hard for him to say like, yo, I miss my son, go and bring him back. So it was almost like Absalom was like banished, and King David didn't want to bring him back, even though he desired to see him. And that brings us to the end of 2 Samuel, the 13th chapter. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rechak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.